So I think the Vanguard boys took a week off or something because they didn't post anything, but they came back with a bang and they had Glenn Greenwald on. So it was really fun interview to listen to, and Glenn Greenwald really seems to love them, which is great. And of course, they talked about the TYT stuff, which we just discussed. So people, if you're just seeing this clip, go watch The Progressive World. We talk about it, I don't know for how long. So the other things that they mentioned, Sam, is the Intercept. I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about Intercept, or I think we included most of the points that that Glenn made in the
No,
previous.
sorry. Yeah, I connected it to the whole funding
Yeah, no,
issue.
that's
I thought
fine.
that's a
No, it was very
good place to
relevant.
bring it up. But yeah, no, I have nothing else to add
Yeah.
except that I think it's a more of a cultural management issue rather than a billionaire telling them to shift their policies.
So again,
Shift
people,
their
for the
story.
funding Intercept stuff, watch our video. Here, I just want to mention, so Glenn goes on to talk about dogs and veganism as well, which I want to get to.
Yes.
And then his dogs were barking. I don't know if he has dogs or gargoyles, but like that was like the craziest sounding thing, whatever was going on for like 10 minutes.
By the way, I two
I
dogs.
have a dog.
We have like I don't not like you though. We have
Yeah, a
dogs
big dog.
in a like that one, like in a garden, like in stuff.
They
But
make that
yeah,
sound.
what? No, rare. Like I remember, I think one time one of them was really sick and may have died. But that sound, I mean, is he okay? That dog?
No, but to be
Jesus
fair, I
Christ.
think Glenn said they have like 20 or 40 dogs on their property.
Yes, they run a homeless.
Yeah,
they run
that
a
was
homeless
great
shelter
stuff.
for
So people
dogs.
need to go listen to that. So they've adopted dogs. They run some kind of
To be honest,
shelter
I tuned
where,
out of that,
yeah, I know
but
they run a shelter, and then the shelter are also run by homeless people who have dogs. So they're the people who they employ. So they help them out, and they've rescued all these dogs, and now they're just trying to control themselves because they have dozens of dogs. And then he also talks about veganism and why he became vegan, and he really talks about, you know, factory farming and how he always loved animals, but you know, there's like this disconnect that sometimes people make between the animals that they eat and their dogs, and how you have to, if you want to become vegan, you have to try to overcome this kind of. And you know, he talks about how they try to hide,
every
just
time I
like
see a
at
cow,
war and
I feel
stuff.
like a criminal.
Oh really? Okay, so I mean, you're getting closer, you know, you can
No,
join our side soon.
I never, to be honest, I would never become a vegetarian and vegan because of factory farming, environment, that type of thing. That's just, I don't know, never. Because I think that is, in my view, that is, you must think of yourself as so important to, oh, I'm gonna, because anyway,
Why?
that's
Why? If you don't want to be part of animals getting
okay. It's like people who
animals getting
unsubscribe
tortured,
from,
if you don't want to be part of animals getting tortured.
oh,
So I mean,
okay,
Glenn says
okay,
that he
don't
did it for
support.
personal
No,
reason,
all right.
not to
Even if you do
change
that,
factory farming by himself.
yeah. No,
Although,
that's what I was
if
gonna get.
enough people
Since I was a
become,
kid,
yeah,
since I was a kid, no, but animal farming thing, I don't. Okay, you kill them and slowly you kill them harshly. You
factory
kill them.
farming. No,
It's
there's a
like
big
people who
difference.
say,
It's like
"Oh,
being
It's
tortured.
like, no, we have to red lines. It's, yeah, sure, I know, but in Syria, it's like Syria thing. The red line is chemical weapons. Until you tickle them to death, it's
No,
okay.
no,
But
no, no, no,
whatever.
no. It's
No,
totally
wait.
different.
No,
That was a
my
shitty
position is,
example.
wait. No, I think it is not. But I think my position has always, since I was a kid, was that I don't see any difference between a cow's life and a human even's life, to be honest, in terms of worth. I don't see how can one make that judgment, right? So I think in that terms, it's moralistically speaking, it's complete, like, it's obvious you shouldn't kill a living creature to feed yourself when you can feed on other things. I'm not talking about, by the way, children, because I think there are studies on the growth of children. That's different. But I'm talking about adults, adults that can afford other things than meat. So I'm a complete hypocrite because I think you're 100% right. But yeah, I just disagree with that. And like, I don't think that type of thing works.
What works to what?
People, we should become vegan, and then animal farming, factory farming becomes less, and then that becomes that, and
Glenn literally says,
bottom up. bullshit.
Glenn literally says the opposite of that, right? But it
I know,
doesn't,
no, I agree with
but
Glenn.
it doesn't mean that, but I don't accept that fully. I think, I mean, if enough people get turned away from factory farming, it could push to some kind of changes. If enough people are off put by it, maybe there'll be
Sure, but that's
something
not going to happen.
that, yeah, I mean, nothing is
That's
going to
not gonna
happen. That's
happen
kind of
because
like
people
protests
get
and stuff.
together.
If you say these things, like nothing ever happens and nothing really does happen except some slow changes. And then you kind of have to look back. You know, it's
Exactly.
kind of like the protesting. Oh, does this protest? It's impossible to find a one protest. But you also don't know whether if there
No,
weren't these
but
10 years of protest, if the world right now would have been something different if there weren't.
I think there are more useful things to do than protest and unity and bottom-up approaches to change. I think bottom-up approaches to change are the most useless, most self-aggrandizing.
What do you mean? Give an example. What do you mean? What, like, give an example of a bottom-up one.
So I think I'm not talking about you or Glenn. I'm telling. I think
yeah.
large segments or large portions of people are become vegan because they want to change the world, or become vegetarian because they think it will affect we are part of this system, but we disconnected from this system. No, you're still living in this country or in that country, I mean, or wherever.
Or you're trying to minimize
to our next segment as well. Yes, I'm trying to say their actions have the only effect it has, it makes them feel better about themselves. All it is, that's all it is.
No, that's one impact. Then you can also see some companies switching away their products a bit from using animals to not using animals because they'll know that they get more customers like that. So they try to get the vegan sticker on their package by just omitting some animal products, or less investing in animal farming because they see they can invest in these other products that can replace them.
Okay,
there's not that there's no change.
If your goal, like me, if your intention was that we kill less animals because animal life is precious, then fair enough. You killed less animals to an extent, you have achieved your goal. But if your goal was to combat climate change or global warming or change industrial structure, no, I don't think you have achieved even a smallest thing.
Yeah, not yet, but nobody will achieve anything in that way.
You have helped the system to find another way to sustain itself, to improve itself.
To sustain itself in a way that's better for the environment or the climate.
Not necessarily.
If you take animal farming, is so much worse than if you eat vegetables on the climate. Of course, don't be ridiculous.
So what? No, not that. You said you changed it for the qualification systems, the ranking systems they have for corporation. Coca-Cola is considered one of the top 40 most environmentally friendly investment companies to do. There's no way to validate any of this. Coca-Cola claims to be for the environment, and
but I don't that has nothing to do with any of my points. I don't disagree with that.
Well, they just put it like soya. Soya is one major replacement for meat. Soya itself is a major cause of, like, if your aim was to
soya is a major cause because then they make all the soy to give it to animals to eat, and then all the soy is grown for animals to eat it, and then on top of that they also release methane and everything. Like, for you to have a cow, you have to grow all that food that you give to a human times 10, give them all the water you give to a human times 10 for that guy to eat it, and then you go eat that cow.
Look, man, I don't want to get into details of this specific argument, but my view specifically is that if you think by not buying some product that has been animal testing, you have a smallest effect on climate change or on policies of big corporations, I don't think you are.
But stick to the exact example that you gave. Let's say some people animal testing. So let's say some people start going away from one perfume to another one that doesn't use animal testing. That can easily push this company to try and move away from animal testing. Anyway, I'm not naive. I don't think that me being vegan or Glenn change the world. But the impact is also not zero, or you make it worse. I mean, it's near zero, but nobody's that naive. And this way of looking at protests is the same way. I mean, you can't judge these things with one action. You have to go look back, and then maybe you can find some arguments.
Would you? No,
So
I
like a
by the way,
single
I agree with you. We should go case by case basis first. Secondly, I agree with you that I don't think they have negative effect. I just think they're insignificant. They don't come into
yeah,
calculations.
more or
That's all.
less,
No,
more or less.
but I didn't understand your point about going back.
I just mean like because protests are also judged like that. So let's say if you want to look at
I think protests are justified like that.
if
They
you
are
want to look,
justified. They create this whole narrative about, yeah, we did this protest in the 60s and then this happened. They're justified like that, but they're not like that.
but I mean, immediately it's very hard to find correlation. Like the only protest I've seen
Because
that
there
like,
is none.
there was the football one. They made these billionaires.
Oh yeah, UK, yes.
The football one. They
See,
made these
was that
billionaires.
immediate or not? Was
That
that
was
immediate or not?
But that was like one of the craziest examples of efficiency
No,
in
no,
protest. That was crazy
because
effective.
that was real protest. That wasn't. That was.
I know, it was very powerful.
People going out in.
But there are other times when people go out.
It wasn't people applying for permission for against the Iraq war. Please, 1 million people. Like,
because they will get in trouble. They knew that these people, they were enough and they couldn't get in trouble. And I'm sure they also applied for permits or different things. Maybe in some of the situations.
These people could have gotten into trouble as well. British police treat hooligans like shit, but they
not
were
when
not afraid of trouble.
Because there were so many of them in this case too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's the type of action that has effect.
That had insane effect. That had insane effect. But my point about going back
is that's the only type of action that has effect. The other types of
that
action,
was just
what we are doing right now is just for us. This has I have no delusions about
it could potentially. I don't have any delusion either. But
that was perfect example.
If this was done in front of 100,000 people, could have convinced one person.
Okay, and that's
so I mean that's one person. That's not nothing. Or it could have been 5 people.
I think
or it could be 10 people.
Close to nothing.
Yeah, I'm not. So I'm saying the impact isn't huge, but at the same time that it's nothing. And then you have to look over time. So if we in 30 years, if we look, oh wow, animal farming, despite the population being the same in 30 years, has not grown, and in fact, it's shrunk by 20%. Then you can perhaps make an argument that some people slowly becoming vegan and others has had an impact even there.
Fair enough.
But they're small ones. They're small ones.
And you have to look at causation and stuff. but I do think like real and significant and fast change only comes through the example you mentioned.
I can't think of another example. Have you ever seen like another this clear cut the next day? These billionaires, if not aware, these football billionaires who own football clubs in the UK, they try to pretty much take a bunch of the teams in Europe. Yeah, 4 out of 10 of them were in the UK. So it was really big in the UK. They want to take them and make it their own league. And there was such a big backlash that literally like 4 or 5 billionaires had in the next day or the day after completely scratched their plans and holy shit, we're so sorry. CEOs lost their jobs, like the head, like Manu, like insane impacts.
It's crazy. No, but I think they made a mistake of not consulting the government in that case specifically, because the government quickly seized on a sort of a populist opportunity and said, this is unnationalistic and unpatriotic and all that. So there was a lack of coordination because literally 3 days, it took them 3 days and it collapsed.
To completely collapse.
Again, I mean, we should do an argument one time properly, well researched and well thought out, not just like that, about how can real change be.
But I agree with you. Real change is impossible, mainly. But I mean, anyway.
Unless you do a coup d'etat. Not really.
Even that is not as effective as the way those guys protested was like, that was like the most effective thing I've ever seen.
That's the most, if you want something like, done. Like, man, that's the thing though. That's why a lot of places are run by really, really like people who can only be described as assholes, because assholes are willing to, or dicks as, like do you remember Team America?
Captain Planet?
And talks about dicks, assholes, and vagina pussies. No, Captain America.
Movie or
no, sorry, Team America. Team America.
Is that a movie? No.
Team America, the puppet movie.
Oh, no. I don't
You haven't
recall.
seen Team America?
I don't think so.
All right, all right.
But I wouldn't want to watch a puppet movie
Well
anyway.
discussed. The joke, other people know what I'm talking about.